the importance of moral reformation, a knowledge of self.
We must work passionately and unrelentingly for first-class citizenship.
For instance, the average so-called Negro, he doesn't think that he can go into business and provide jobs for himself.
We've got to get smart. We've got to organize.
And because of this, he thinks that he can only get a job from the white man, or he can only get clothes from the white man, or he can only get food from the white man.
We've got to organize so effectively and so well and engage in such powerful creative protest that there will not be a power in the world that can stop us.
We gotta be proud to be black. Don't worry about what they say. We gotta think smarter and live smarter. We gotta want more and work harder, cause they ain't giving it to us. Put your all in. If you truly wanna make it, can't be waiting for handouts, baby, you gotta take it. Like Martin gotta have a dream, cause he had one. Like Malcolm, by any means, gotta get that done. Don't be ashamed of who you are, stick your chest out proud. Make them believe that you're the best, show them what you about. We gotta love each other, stop killing each other. We gotta unitize, and don't believe the lies. This is a message to the blacks and any other minority. Live well and love self, that's the priority. TP!
Been taught for so many centuries that they are nobody is not easy.
So they very skillfully made you and me hate our African identity.
Maybe the English language should be reconstructed so that teachers will not be forced to teach the Negro child 60 ways to despise himself and thereby perpetuate his false sense of inferiority.
Our features and our skin and our blood, while we had to end up hating ourselves. It made us feel inferior.
We must no longer be ashamed of being black.
All right. Thank you, John. Okay, what I was trying to get to you to show you to turn it off when he got to the music and cut it off so we can start. We was trying to get your attention. Because at the end of the program, then you can just play it all the way out if you want to. The music sounds just as good. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry, everybody. See Jumbo, everyone. I'm your host, Catherine Hunter Williams, along with my co-host, Miss Catherine Blake.
Hello, everybody.
And we welcome you all to Satora's Black History Corner Internet program. We hope you enjoyed the song you heard at the beginning of our program, and it's called Be Proud to Be Black by Flint's own rapper, TP, The Product. All right. And if you like it, I'm going to give some information at the end of the program if you want to purchase it or whatever. You could call this number and get it from him. Did you call him?
No, I didn't. Not yet, no.
Okay.
But I will.
As always, we'd like to invite you to call in with any questions or comments at 810-208-1854. We not only tell our story about our past, great heroes and sheroes, but we also speak about those living in the present day. Today we're going to tell our story about American African women because, as you know, March is Women History Month, and we're at the end of the month. So we're going to continue out our program with the celebration of our story of these women because they made many contributions and achievements, not only here in America, but also around the world. Today I'm going to start off with Harriet Tubman. And I don't know, Catherine, do you still do the suffrage movement anymore?
Oh, yes.
You're still doing it?
We're making plans now for August 26th, 2013. Yes, we will have a suffrage observance.
No, John, that's not Harriet Tubman. That's Harriet Tubman, but that's not the picture that I want up there. It's the number one. It has a number behind it. It says number one. That's okay. John has a new system and he has to get it working. So y'all please be patient with us. We call it Pardon Our Dust. We're under construction. And once he could get this new system going, this new program that they have, we'll be fine.
Can you see the picture?
I see the picture, but that's not the one I want.
This is picture, that's Harriet Tubman 1. That's what it says.
That's number 1?
That's what it says. Yes, Harriet Tubman 1.
Okay. Are we echoing? Do you hear echo?
I do.
Yeah. John, you hear echo going on?
No.
Okay. Harriet Tubman. She was born our mentor Harriet Ross in 1820. I hear that. Maybe it's going, we speaking and then it's going in there or something.
I can't hear an echo. I can't hear an echo. So.
Yeah, I hear it.
We hear it. We can hear echo though. It's like after I say what I got to say, it's something that's speaking afterwards. I don't know. Like I said, please pardon our dust. We're under construction. John and them have a new program and they will get it together. Okay, thank you. She was born in 1820, not sure what date, but they say March 10th, 1913. So that's very timely because this is March. I'm sorry, 19. She died. She died.
I was getting ready to say.
She died. I'm sorry, I'm just a little distracted. Because I'm looking at these pictures and I don't know what John is doing here.
Oh, just go on. Just go on.
Okay. I'm just, okay. She was born in 1820 in Dorchester County, Maryland, United States of America. She was an American African abolitionist, humanitarian, and Union spy during the American Civil War.
She was a spy.
Yeah, she was. It's a picture of that up there. She that first one. That one there is the one. It's another one where she has a long dress on. That's the spy picture. Okay. Anyway, she was born into slavery. Tubman escaped and subsequently made more than 13 missions to rescue more than 70 slaves, using a network of anti-slavery activists and safe houses known as the Underground Railroad. She later helped John Brown recruit men for his raid on Harper's Ferry, and in the post-war era struggle for women's suffrage. That's why I was talking about the women's suffrage. She said I freed 1,000 slaves and I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. If only they knew they were not slaves. And this to me applies today to what's going on with our children because they're being programmed and they don't know that they're being programmed. And the things that they're doing, they just slapping some of the people that fought for the freedom that they're experiencing today. And to me, they don't know that they're being programmed. Well, she said they didn't know they were slaves. But she could have freed a whole lot of them if they knew they were slaves. If only they knew they were slaves. I'm sorry, it was not that they didn't know they were slaves. As a child in Dorchester County, Maryland, Tubman was beaten by masters to whom she was hired out. Early in life, she suffered a severe head wound when hit by a heavy metal weight. The injury caused disabling seizures, narcoleptic attacks. That means she would just fall asleep. Headaches and powerful visionary and dream experiences which occurred throughout her life. See, I hear talking.
Go ahead.
Do you hear it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, a devout Christian, Tubman ascribed the visions and vivid dreams to revelations from God. So do I. In 1849, Tubman escaped to Philadelphia, then immediately returned to Maryland to rescue her family. Slowly, one group at a time, she brought relatives out of the state and eventually guided dozens of other slaves to freedom. Traveling by night, Tubman, or Moses as she was called, never lost the passage.
Amen.
Large rewards were offered for the return of many of the fugitive slaves, but no one then knew that Tubman was the one helping them. When the Southern-dominated Congress passed the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, requiring law officials in free states to aid efforts to recapture slaves, she helped guide fugitives further north into Canada, where slavery was prohibited. Mm-hmm. When the American Civil War began, Tubman worked for the Union Army, first as a cook and as a nurse, and then as an armed scout and spy.
Armed
Scout and spy.
That means she carried a gun.
Yeah.
And I know she was somebody to handle.
And the picture that you're seeing right now was when you see the gun she got in her hand, she had a shotgun. And she was freeing slaves right there. She was taking them to freedom. And she would pull that gun up on you in a minute. You talk about you going back. No, you ain't going back nowhere. I'll shoot you dead. Nope. There are a lot of people, I've seen a lot of plays of Harriet Tubman, especially out at the, there's that railroad place out there off of Bray Road.
Oh, yeah.
Crossroads Village, yeah. They had people that come in and would be reenactors of Harriet Tubman and different things. It's Sojourner Truth.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty interesting. She was the first woman to lead an armed expedition in the war.
What?
She was the first woman to lead an armed expedition in the war.
Really?
She guided the Combahee River Raid. Combahee River Raid, which liberated more than 700 slaves in South Carolina.
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. After the war, I read it the other day, but it just really sinking in what she did. After the war, she retired to the family home in Auburn, New York, where she cared for her aging parents. And that's the picture of where she's with that all-white outfit on when she was older. And she became active in the women's suffrage movement in New York. She lived in a home for elderly American Africans that she had helped founded years earlier. So Harriet Tubman was in the suffrage movement.
That's really something.
She was a Civil War nurse. She was a civil rights activist. She was an Underground Railroad conductor.
She was a spy.
She was a spy. She was a nurse. She was a cook. This woman did a lot of things, and then at the end of her life, as an elderly American African, she had founded a convalescent home for older people. So Harriet Tubman did quite a few different things in her lifetime. She was a daughter to, her parents were Harriet, Rit Green, and Ben Ross. And Rit was owned by Mary Patterson Brodes and her son Edward. And Tubman reported the year of her birth, 1825, while her death certificate list is 1815, and her gravestone list is 1820.
Wow.
So actually, they don't know when she was born because, number one, they didn't keep. Thank you, John. They didn't keep records of birth certificates and stuff that we got today. In her Civil War widow pension records, Tubman claims she was born in 1820, 1822, and 1825, an indication perhaps that she had only a general idea herself when she was born. That's interesting. But that's our story. Well, let me just give you a little bit more. Harriet Tubman is well known for risking her life as a conductor in the Underground Railroad. And also the reason I wanted to tell this story is because last week, President Obama named some national monuments of this country, and hers was one of them that was named in, it's a state park, and it's in Maryland, on Maryland's Eastern Shore. Oh. And it will open to the public 2015. And so I thought that was
that's wonderful.
Yeah, it would be a national monument of the United States.
Okay.
That he did, and he did it because she was a conductor of the Underground Railroad.
That's what
it's not open to the public yet, but it will be in 2015, and it's in Maryland. That's around where she was born, Dorchester County. on the Eastern Shore. I'm sure you'll hear about it, but he named several other ones, but that caught my attention, so I said, okay, I'm going to do our story on her.
All right.
She was, like I said, well known for risking her life as a conductor in the Underground Railroad, which led escaped slaves to freedom in the North. But did you know that the former slave also served as a spy for the Union during the Civil War and was the first woman in American history to lead a military expedition? I'm just repeating myself.
No, I didn't know that. And that is really something. Back in those days, I wonder, were they all black men or were they a mixture of black
That's
men?
when she, what was it? She guided the Combahee River Raid, which liberated more than 700 slaves in the South. So she had led in an armed expedition, but they liberated or got freedom for more than 700 slaves in South Carolina.
Yeah, well, see, the expedition, was that white men? Was it a mixture of black and white men?
I have no idea on that
Because,
one.
you know, if that's really something for a woman to be a leader of a raid where white men would take orders from
her, because it says
woman.
that here. It says during a time when women were usually restricted to traditional roles like cooking and nursing, even though she did that. She did her share of those jobs, but she also worked side by side with men, says writer Tom Allen, who tells her exciting story in the National Geographic book, Harriet Tubman, Secret Agent. So
they may have been men that she knew already and didn't mind her being the leader.
But I believe it probably was, it was a white expedition.
That's very interesting. I like to dig a little deeper into that.
She decided to help the Union Army because she wanted freedom for all. She was with the Union Army. So, yeah, it could have been. Could have been all white expedition. She wanted freedom for all of the people who were forced into slavery, not just the few she could help by herself. And she convinced many other brave American Africans to join her as spies. See, I didn't know none of this. I thought she was the only spy, even at the risk of being hanged if they were caught. And one of her most dramatic, dangerous roles, Tubman helped Colonel James Montgomery. This is where we come into this. This is a colonel, so he had to have been white. Plan a raid to free slaves from plantations along the Combahee, pronounced Combee River in South Carolina. Early on the morning of June 1st, 1863, three gunboats carrying several hundred male soldiers along with Harriet Tubman set out on their mission.
Wow.
Tubman had gathered key information from her scouts. She had scouts about the Confederate positions. She knew where they were hiding along the shore. She also found out where they had placed torpedoes or barrels filled with gunpowder in the water. That's the spy part of the woman. As early morning fog lifted on some of the South's most important rice plantations, the Union expedition hit hard. The raiders set fire to the buildings and destroyed bridges so they couldn't be used by Confederate Army. They also freed about 750 slaves, men, women, children, and babies, and did not lose one soldier in the attack. Allen, who writes about this adventure and many others, got to know Tubman well through the months of research he did for her book. The historical details he shares brings Tubman and many other important figures of her time to life.
Wow.
To gather the facts, Allen searched the libraries and went to the internet and even walked in Harriet Tubman's shoes. That means he walked the trail. He said, I went on the river just south of the area where the raid took place. You are in that kind of country she would have known, with plenty of mosquitoes and snakes. And there are still dirt roads there today, so you get a feeling of what it was like. Okay.
Wow.
Harriet Tubman was 5 feet 2 inches tall.
A little bitty short woman.
Born a slave, had a debilitating illness, and was unable to read or write. Yet here was this tough woman who could take charge and lead men. Put all that together and you get Harriet Tubman. I got to like her pretty quickly because of her strength and her spirit, so did I. To find out more about this courageous and adventurous woman, read the book Harriet Tubman, Secret Agent.
Wow.
That's the story about
Secret Agent.
About Harriet Tubman. And Harriet Tubman died March 10th, 1913. She was 93 years old in Auburn, New York. And she died of pneumonia. But this was a very brave woman. And like I said, the reason I wanted to bring her up, because I think we've talked about her before on our program, is because
not in depth like
it's
that.
not in depth like it is now, but the internet is getting more information. But also because of President Obama named her something. It's evidence. It's a statue that's already there that they're going to make into a national monument, and that means that's going to be there.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful. So that's our story about Miss Harriet Tubman, or better known as she was born as Arminta Ross. And I like to ask chaps, who is Arminta Harriet Ross? And they don't never know. So, and all she did was change her name. She used her middle name, Harriet. And it was Harriet Ross, but she married a man named Tubman. And there's some stuff more about that husband, because when she was going to run away, she told him about it, and he wouldn't go with her. He was going to tell on her.
What?
Yeah, he wasn't going to go with her.
That slave mentality.
Yeah. And told her she couldn't go, so she left. She left him. Yeah, I'm gone. We'll leave a man in the house. We'll get on out of there. Anyway, Miss Catherine is going to tell you about Beverly Jenkins, who is an author of several books, which is an awesome story, because I had heard about Beverly Jenkins, and we have some down at Page's bookstore, some of her books.
Do you really? All right.
Yeah. And but I never got in detail about her, and I couldn't find a whole lot about her. I just found some pictures so that you could be able to do your thing. There she go. John got her up there pretty good.
Yeah, I thought this was very interesting. This is about Miss Beverly Jenkins. She is an African American. I know you like American African. She's a historical romance writer. She and her family live in southeastern Michigan, and she was born in Detroit. All right. She graduated from
Michigander, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She graduated from Cass Technical High School, and she attended Michigan State University, where she majored in journalism and English literature. Miss Jenkins has written 16 books to date. I think there's more now, and has received numerous awards for her work, including the Detroit Free Press Book of the Year. She's got 3 Walden Book Bestseller Awards, 2 Career Achievement Awards from Romantic Times magazine. I never heard of them.
Nope.
A Golden Pen Award from the Black Writers Guild. I've heard of them. And in 1999, Miss Jenkins was voted one of the top 50 favorite African Americans, that's in here now, writers of the 20th century by the African American Book Literacy Club. And in May of 2002, Miss Jenkins published her first historical novel for young adults titled Belle and the Bow. And her second year, Josephine and the Soldier, followed in 2003. Miss Jenkins has been featured in many national publications, including the Wall Street Journal, People's Magazine, the Dallas Morning News, The Vibe, and I know everybody gets The Vibe.
Do they? What is The Vibe?
You never seen The Vibe magazine?
Yeah, what is that?
That's a hip magazine.
For children?
No,
for youth?
No, it's a black magazine.
But is it for youth? I ain't never heard of it.
Yeah, it's actually for adults.
Really?
Vibe? You never heard of The Vibe? Come on, Catherine, don't tell nobody that.
No, I'm telling y'all that, and they hearing it. Never heard of Vibe. It might have been out there, but I never heard of Vibe.
Wow.
I'm an Ebony person.
Yeah, Ebony's out there, but
I left Essence alone.
Essence is there.
Yeah, I left them alone. They're not under black control anymore, so I left them alone.
Oh, well, The Vibe is a hip magazine. She was
I will
lectured.
check it out, though.
Yeah, the Vibe, VIBE.
Okay. I see it here. I'll check it out.
Okay, she has lectured at such prestigious universities as Oberlin College University, the University of Illinois, the University of Michigan, of course, U of M, and she speaks widely on both romance and the 19th century African American history at libraries, school and organizations including Romance Writers of America and the African American Historical and Genealogical Society. She is active in her church and community. And in November 2001, she was the recipient of the YWCA Women of Achievement Award. That's a nice award to receive.
What is it now?
The Women of Achievement.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you get one? Was it
in Flint or from where?
From the YWCA?
No.
No, that wasn't. No. In February 2004, Miss Jenkins' first contemporary novel of the romantic suspense, The Edge of Midnight, was released. And then there was The Sexy and Dangerous. Whoa. And her fourth novel of romance suspense was released in 2006. Now, we have some novels here that you can look up.
I got one. You said her was in 2004 was Edge of Midnight. And Bring On the Blessings.
Okay, Bring On the Blessings.
That's her first faith-based women's fiction work, and was published in 2009. And then you got Nighthawk 211.
Yes, I got several books here.
Okay.
Destiny's Embrace, about gentleman seeks housekeeper, must be willing to travel. Then we got A Wish and a Prayer. And these are winning series of books. And then you've got the Nighthawk. That was about the outlaw preacher. That should be a good one. They said he has many names, but he can't escape the past. The outlaw preacher, Nighthawk. And Indigo. This is talking about a mud pie recipe.
Mud pie?
But I think it go deeper than that. It's a romance novel.
Okay.
Just to give you a quick little something. Then you got Vivid. And then there's Something Old and Something New. And you've got Midnight. And of course we mentioned Bring On the Blessings. And then Belle. Belle was one of her most favorite books.
Books, okay.
One of her bestsellers was Belle. But that's just a little something about her, about an author from Michigan.
That's her story?
Well, a little bit of something about her. Being an author from Michigan.
Yeah, it says here, Detroit Free Press says Beverly Jenkins has reached the romance stardom.
Wow.
Yeah. This is Publishers Weekly. Jenkins' sassy heroine. I don't know how to pronounce that. Heroines.
Heroines.
Heroines. Well-drawn secondary characters and seamless incorporation of Black history results in a fresh, winning historical. That's awesome.
It made me so interested in her books that I hadn't heard of her, and I thought this was really very interesting, mixing history and romance together.
Well, at Page's Bookstore, it's downtown on 134 West 2nd Street, right at the corner of Buckham Alley. If y'all have opportunity and you would like to come down and get a book by Beverly Jenkins. Come on down. You know, and I think what her covers on her books be the colors in it be so vibrant.
So beautiful.
So, you know.
Romantic.
Yeah.
Enticing.
Thank you for that story, because that's what our books is about.
Sensuous.
We have quite a few books of that down at Page's Bookstore.
Really?
That we have a black authors, that write those same type of books.
Oh, okay.
I wish we could get Ashley and Jaquavis in here on the show, because they are so well known. They have been on the New York's best selling list for 2 years in a row, and they're the youngest ever.
Really?
And they are black, and they're from Flint, Michigan.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. I would love to get them on here.
All right.
Yeah, I like to read their stories. See, they get it going on sometime, but I don't like the way they put in there with, she had on her Fendi watch and she had on her Gucci shoe, you know.
Well,
that's the way those stores, they do that.
Yeah.
And that's the way her stories are written, their story is written. They just, she jumped into her Mercedes 350 or whatever. That turns me off, because it makes it makes me.
But they're describing the.
They are naming all name brands. None of it is black. It's all white. You know, that's my thing, y'all. Not nobody else. It's just mine.
Well,
and
I like to hear all that description. It just opens my eyes where I can see better.
They live in Hilton hotels, and she don't be playing with them. But I would love to, if y'all hear me out there, if I can get Ashley and Jaquavis on this show, please let us know. All right, I hope you enjoyed our program that we brought to you today, our story about American African women, and I ask y'all that y'all continue to celebrate it throughout the rest of the month.
Amen.
Our story is about our American African heritage and culture. Satora's Black History Corner internet program comes to you via satellite at www.flinttalkradio.com or YouTube Flint Talk Radio. You can watch our program every second and fourth Monday of the month starting at 3:30 p.m. And also be sure to watch What's Going On with political pundit Dr. George Moss every Monday at 2 p.m. And if you would like to purchase the CD single, Be Proud to Be Black, you can contact TP, and you'll hear the rest of hear it again at the end of this program. You can contact TP at 810-962-3258, and be sure to tell him you heard his song on Satora's Black History Corner. Finally, as always, I'd like to say asante to all those who are watching our program on this day. And if you like what you have seen and heard, pass it on to others. In the meantime, while you're waiting for our next program, keep on keeping on with us and the sounds of TP's CD single, Be Proud to Be Black. May God bless you, keep you safe, and in his perfect hotep, which means peace.
Peace and love.
The importance of moral reformation, a knowledge of
We
self.
must work passionately and unrelentingly for first-class citizenship.
For instance, if the average so-called Negro, he doesn't think that he can go into business and provide jobs for himself.
We've got to get smart. We've got to organize.
And because of this, he thinks that he can only get a job from the white man, or he can only get clothes from the white man, or he can only get food from the white man.
We've got to organize so effectively and so well and engage in such powerful creative protest that there will not be a power in the world that can stop us.
We gotta be proud to be black. Don't worry about what they say. We gotta think smarter and live smarter. We gotta want more and work harder, cause they ain't giving it to us. Put your all in. If you truly wanna make it, can't be waiting for handouts, baby, you gotta take it. Like Martin gotta have a dream, cause he had one. Like Malcolm, by any means, gotta get that done. Don't be ashamed of who you are, stick your chest out proud. Make them believe that you're the best, show them what you about. We gotta love each other, stop killing each other. We gotta unitize and don't believe the lies. This is a message to the blacks and any other minority. Live well and love self, that's the priority. TP!
Been taught for so many centuries that they are nobody is not easy.
So they very skillfully made you and me hate our African identity.
Maybe the English language should be constructed so that teachers will not be forced to teach the Negro child 60 ways to despise himself and thereby perpetuate his false sense of inferiority.
Hating our features and our skin and our blood, why we had to end up hating ourselves. It made us feel inferior.
We must no longer be ashamed of being black.